Game Over 86 coming back with another video, and today, guys, in this video, I am going to be talking about why, to me, personally, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this, why IGN and Metacritic scores and all that other stuff doesn't personally matter to me. And I'm going to go through a little bit and give you guys my critical thoughts on this, my opinions, and I want to know what you guys think at the end of the video. If you guys go by Metacritic, or do you guys go by IGN, or do you guys go by one of your favorite YouTubers out there? Let me know down in the comments at the end of this video. And if you guys are new to this video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and the bell notifications, and be sure to smash and share this video with everybody else. But we're going to take a look at some of these games that have recently came out. One was from last year, and I actually did a review on it, and it was just me pretty much crapping all over it when it first released, but it's been getting a lot of praise this year. But we're going to go over a little bit above this and how IGN has changed a few things on their pretty much website, on their reviews, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first game of Ace Combat. And what I want to do right here, guys, is I'm going to shrink this screen down. I'm going to show you guys their Metacritic score of Ace Combat. And what you're seeing here is Metacritic score of 81. The user score was an 84. And a lot of the stuff there was good in there, a lot of good detailed play. Obviously, IGN of Japan's going to rank it a 95. The developers there, it's just a different style of anime game. And if you get the Xbox version, you do get Ace Combat 6. And from when this video is shot, so they may change that later on. So just remember this video. If you're watching this 3-4 months from now, it may not be with it. I don't know. But if you get it on the PlayStation 4, you can get some added VR missions. I think there's 2 or 3. Now, I don't have a problem if you want to go to Metacritic score and check out a score, and you know, if you're not big into YouTube and this is where you go to get your reviews on anything, whether it be movies, music, games, TV, whatever, that's fine. What I have a problem with is how critical people are of each other, but yet backpack off of each other because they want them positive views and they want their videos to stand out and they want everybody to be the same. And I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on all this right now. This is IGN's review of pretty much Ace Combat, and a lot of it was a struggle for a lot of them. They stated in here, and I quote, these are all quotes or pretty much adaptations of what they're doing of the review, but they gave it a 7.0 good. Now, I'm not defending this game, but they stated in here that Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown doesn't do a lot to update its classic arcade-style dogfighting. But it does look great, and its gameplay holds up. So, and a lot of this that you slide through here, they talk about how the VR mode's okay. It adds some of that just in depth in pretty much ingraining in the video games, so where you're getting that full experience to an extent. You know, some of their quotes that bounties add strategy and encourage you to think about who you target, but the system definitely works better in team games, they stated. They also quoted that Ace Combat 7 expects you to understand what's going on at all times, but rarely tells you what it wants. It also states that Ace Combat 7 leans heavily on its nonsensical story. So its nonsensical story is, it's Japan. It's kind of got that, you know, kind of that anime style of story for everybody that don't know. And then they put on here like Forza Horizon 4 and Just Cause 4. The signature feature of Ace Combat is the emphasis on detailed weather. Now, I have seen this gameplay. I have taken a notice to it. I do look forward to playing this game. So I am not giving you guys any reviews from my opinion because I have not played any of these games I'm about to talk about except for one, and that one I will go over here in a little bit. I have played the demo 30-minute to another one, but other than that, I haven't played any other games that we're going to talk about. So they say dogfighting in Ace Combat is and always has been surprisingly complex. Now, what they don't tell you on here at first is when you're watching him play and whatnot, and he was talking about how the style of the game was, which is unique and different. he had it on an easier mode, and for him to sit there and play it on the easy mode and then say it was struggle and complex from watching the review, I think he was wrong critically for that, for the people that are wanting to buy it or for people that are wanting to watch the reviews. Now, I'm just giving you guys my honest opinions and my critiques on this, so these opinions are my opinions, like I stated before. But I believe that they should have played it on a harder mode and gave you more in-depth detail on that game per se. Because when they go through there and they play it on easy, it wasn't intended to be on easy, in my opinion, for the ultimate. For it to be rated a 7, and Metacritic gave it an 81, and I know the 7 out of the 8.4 user score, it's always going to be different. Sometimes it's going to be right on, sometimes it's going to be a point off, or a point off. But for them to sit there and play it on easy, that is where I look at when I say I don't care about IGN or Metacritic scores or whatever, I just do it myself. Or if I'm really wanting to play the game, I just buy it. A lot of these review scores are sometimes up in the air. Different from the Xbox to the PS4 with the critics, how many people actually, they say this is generally favored review based on 48 critics. Now, how do we know a lot of these critics honestly are really handpicked to play all these games, specifically each part of the game, whether it be the VR modes in PlayStation 4, PC with the keyboard and mouse, and all that. And a lot of this stuff does tell you in depth, and I'm not going into in depth in each one, but when you look at all these ratings, I don't go by everybody's user score and ratings, because a lot of people nowadays with game journalists and whatnot are biased and corporate shills toward these companies because they make their money, they make their inside news and knowledge over this, and that's just my opinion, but I see that a lot of times. And then the next game, guys, that I want to talk about is Resident Evil 2, and we're going to jump to that one right now. And it just came out recently, just not even, I mean, it states what, 9 hours ago? Or it says 9 hours and 19 minutes, excuse me, until the game releases. So we only got a little bit of time for that. But the critics right now have scored, it's a 91 right now setting at Metacritic. And I understand everybody's going to be obviously judging it with the user score. I'm sure it's going to be up there in the 8.8s, the 9.2s, in that region. I believe it will be too. But then when I go to Resident Evil over here, their first review was a complete joke, and they have recently came through here, and I'm going to take you up here to the top part so we can read it, but it says, editor's note, this review has been, and let me move this out of the way real quick. This review has been updated to correct a factual error regarding the way you unlock the second game mode, and as a result, the score has been increased from 8.8 to 9.0. We regret the error and really like Resident Evil 2. And they're a big time, gaming network. They do a lot of these reviews. I understand that they got a bunch of them that they do, but when you go through, and they did remove a lot of this stuff out of here. On their first review, they just scribbled out lines through it and whatnot, just really being very different. And they were talking about how, the unlock system was different and how they were critical of each other on, like it just states right here, Leon and Claire take extremely similar paths. And literally, he said the 8 hours, it felt a little short. And he said, but it was excited to fire up Claire's campaign and see the fateful evening events. So it was one of them things. And then he said, unfortunately, whomever you play as the main game mode, Resident Evil 2, will be largely the same when you finish and the switch to the other person's second game mode. But what he don't get is you have to beat this game multiple times over, and there's different details on reasons why. Evidently, maybe he didn't play the old school Resident Evil on the PlayStation one time. But there were just little critiques that I see in this, and he said, this is a real survival horror where it always seems like you're just barely scraping by. Now, I have played the beta. This is the part where I said I played the beta on. I did play the beta, the 30 minutes on the X, and I can put that in here if you guys want to check out a review. I'll put a bubble up here for you guys to check it out, or I can leave a link down in the description. You guys that are subscribed, go check my channel out, and you guys can see that as well. And the game does, this is a real survival horror. It does bring back that genre. They did a really good job of maintaining that, and it really represents the old school Resident Evil 2 feel. To me, it did. And Resident Evil 7, it has that type of gameplay, which I really think. And that over-the-shoulder complex is so much better, in my opinion. And a lot of this stuff was correct. But when I go down and I see a lot of this, and they changed it to amazing and all this other stuff, and they changed their ideas, and then I go to Resident Evil on Metacritic, and like I said, it shows a 91, and you know, a lot of these people in here, Eurogamer 90, GameOver.gr 95, Gaming Trends 100. I mean, they're really good. Gamer scored it a 70. I don't know what he was definitely thinking. I haven't checked out any of his. But as far as all of that goes, I'm not being too critical of them, but it did look like they changed the overall message in the game, in my belief of it. And that's just how I believe. And I do believe that they have changed some of their wording, obviously, because they got a lot of flack for it. And this is where I state, are they trying to please people? Because as this video is being shot, excuse me, while I was doing this video right here, guys, talking to a lot of the stuff, I really started to tend to see what people were talking about on review scores. So when I shoot this video, when I talk about Anthem, that was shown over the week of Thursday. And today is Monday, and I watched them do that, and they were talking about how they were playing on keyboard and mouse, and they were showing you at 1080p 60 frames, which if you're getting it on console will not be 1080 60 frames. I made a video on that as well if you want to check that out. I will leave it in the link description, or I'll put a bubble right here for you guys as well. And I was just stating in the year 2019, we should at least have 1080p 60 frames, because there is a big time jump from 30 frames to 60 frames when you are playing a shooter, whether it be third person or first person, competitive or non-competitive, in my opinion. I don't care that it's 4K 30 frames. That's fine if you're just going to do the single player and you're not really going to be playing with a bunch of people. But it does hamper the gaming experience. And it's funny how they were doing this beta review, or whatever you want to call it. They say it's a 6-week-old game, and it's 6 weeks old ago to where you're playing it. So what you're watching from IGN is you are watching literally a different view from what they wanted you to see. So they were showing you from a PC port, and a lot of people are PC games. So a lot of people are watching this and thinking, oh, wow, that looks really cool. But when you get it on console, dude, it will be night and day different when it comes to 30 frames, especially 1080p. And I was very critical of them. And I believe EA and BioWare should be ashamed and lack of their lazy development and publishing, because this is unacceptable for people that are paying $65 for a game that not even run at 1080p 60 frames. That was just mind-blowing to me. And this is where I state IGN showing you from a PC thing, so because they're going to show you the best visuals ever. They're going to show you it the best way running. Why would they show it on a PlayStation-based console where it looks shitty and doesn't make you feel like you want to buy it? And then they also talked about how you're in the middle of the game and you're ranked 15, or excuse me, 10, and you can get to rank 15, then that's capped. And, you know, it will all be different when the real game comes out. And to me, that's not a beta. And like I said in my other video, it's weird that they're going to possibly add 60 frames as an option. And they also stated that you could do you know, the different currency, or they were calling it different things in the game, to where you would be buying stuff or adding virtual currency or whatever for your microtransactions, or how you grind and stuff like that. It's all different from the real game. So that goes to tell me, what are they really showing us? Are they showing us just a bullshit version of it, to where we get all excited and then we buy the game, we realize that it's hampered down by loot boxes? I mean, this is EA we're talking about. And BioWare really needs this game, in my opinion, to really push them to the next game after this, because they haven't really produced anything for a long time. And that's where I state on these games that are being rushed, in my opinion. I honestly think that they're just wanting to get this game out. EA's that type of company. They've always been that type of company, and I don't think they will change. Now, as far as the video game reviews and all that stuff, I'm going to go back to another one that I was very critical of last year, and I'm going to shrink this screen down now so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. And yes, it is Sea of Thieves, and this is the IGN review. And it states in here that Sea of Thieves, they gave it a good 7.0. And Sea of Thieves Pirate Fantasy is a good foundation that's fun with friends, but bogged down by repetitive grind. Now, I have to agree with that point. But I wouldn't have gave him a 7.0. I didn't even give him a 5. I believe I gave him like a 4, 4.5 on this game. It was horrible, in my opinion, for a rare published, or a rare developed, published Microsoft, Xbox, whatever game last year should have been. But he said some of the quotes in here that were positives, I'm guessing, were ship-to-ship combat. It's full of innovative opportunities beyond just preparing one another for Cannon Fire, or with Cannon Fire. And I played the game. It was hard. It was hard. Let me rephrase that. It was hard to find anybody within a flippin' hour of the game to have a battle with. And when you did, it was like pointless because you didn't have anything. You went to go get a box of treasure that you had to dig up, go get some chickens in a basket, fight a couple skeletons, kill a couple. I mean, you could hit a shark with a sword twice or 3 times, it would die. Now, this is the game that I did review, one of my first review games before I started my channel last year, or right after I started my channel, excuse me. And just other quotes. When each surprising discovery leads to another, Sea of Thieves nails that feeling of pulling on thread to unravel a mystery. There were 3 things to do in the game. So when I see that, and I see that review, and here's a shocker right here that made me go bullshit on, but I don't know the guy, but Brandon Tyrell, after 40 hours in Sea of Thieves, the pirate battles on the screen were as tense as my own eternal battle over. Whether I was enjoying Sea of Thieves as a gamer or as the prettiest online chat room ever. What's here is amazing foundation for a social experiment that's beautifully realized. A social experiment. There was literally nothing to do in that game, and he played for 40 hours, and it took me 10 hours to realize this game sucked. I put in a good amount of time in this game, and I realized I was done with pretty much everything within an hour and a half. I did everything, and I was literally going around with a couple buddies of mine, and we couldn't find anybody. And then when you do, you grab their box, you take it back, and you get little upgrades that weren't even helping you become better in the game. Now, I do know that this game, let me go over to Metacritic. When you go over here, they gave it a 7.0. User score gave it a 5.0, and I gave it a 4.5 when it first came out. Metacritic gave it a 69. And a lot of the developers, obviously all these other people that seem to be, you know, obviously they must have been paid or something, got the game for free. I don't know. They might have got it for free because it was on Game Pass if they have that. But a lot of these people really scored it low. Some of them scored it in the greens, which was shocking to me. But when I see this stuff, and like I said, I talk about Sea of Thieves and I talk about other games, doesn't it look like they're working for the developer, like a corporate company is paying them extra money to really promote their game and their channel? And that is where I sit back, and that's why I've stated to a lot of people that say, oh, well, wait until IGN score, man. You're just speaking, you know, pretty much hypothetically speaking. And I told them, no, I don't give a shit what IGN score. I don't ever go to them. And I grew up in the old days where I don't go to that shit and look at that. I don't need somebody else to tell me how a game plays once I see it. My eyes can tell me, and that's where I made that video last week on Friday about certain games to look out for. Are they worth $60? And to me, this is where I look at IGN and I say, are they really that credible? I mean, you look at Metacritic too. Are they really? It's just a bunch of people that got the game possibly for free, or they're so-called critics, and they want to talk about how great a game is, but then they change the review when it gets bad reviews or bad critical thing on it with Resident Evil 2 Remake. They went back in and changed it a couple 0.2 points, but they erased a lot of the stuff that they just had lined through, which you guys have seen, maybe many of you guys maybe did not. And it's like they stated Sea of Thieves was a great game, but it was repetitive at the end. They throw that at the very end of the page where some people don't even scroll down to see the whole thing. And then like Ace Combat, they had it on easy, where you're sitting there wondering what the hell's going on. Like, why would you even put it on easy in the first place? And it's a Japanese kind of anime story game anyway. So, of course, it's going to be a little bit more learning curve and unique in style and difference, because they're way different than they are over here in the West, where they make just games like Ace Combat would have just been made. It would have just been a playing game, shooting them down. Another Top Gun game, you know? And that is where I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys base everything around Metacritic score and IGN, or do you guys focus in on a YouTuber with a really strong review history? Or do you look at the guys that really, there's smaller channels out there that I know personally that I have actually stated that I would rather watch a review from them, and they don't even have over 10,000 or 5,000 or even 1,000 subs on some of them, and they do full in-depth reviews. And I just think that sometimes, yes, I understand people that do it for a profession, they get paid, they have to keep their reviews out. But when you see somebody do a review and then change it like IGN did, or you see them do a review and they got it on the easiest mode ever, or they're shilling for a company playing it on a PC when they know that the console version of it's going to be shittier and run different. And they shell out saying this game's worth it, or they say, oh, this game's really fun, and then they give you different results from what the actual user would give you. That's what you guys should base, if anything, is a user play, because who cares about the critics? Do you know them personally? Do you really trust everything? I mean, there were people that used to critic old school cult classic comedies from the 80s and 90s. They got horrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and they turn out to be really great movies, like iconic movies. And even with video games, it's like we lived back in the 90s. We didn't look at everything like that. We didn't look at reviews and check that because there wasn't around. And we just had to go by what we believed the game would. They didn't have all that. So everybody out there, if you guys literally let me know down in the comments who you guys go to look for on your reviews. Let me know some names, guys. Post some names down there on who you guys specifically like to go watch. Because I only believe in doing a review if it's going to be a full review. And I know a lot of people, like I stated before, state that, oh, you can tell the game's going to be shitty in 5 hours or 2 hours or whatever. Yeah, but okay, if it takes that long to know if it's shitty, it should only take that long to know if it's good. But then again, if it's an RPG that takes 60 to 70 hours, what's 5-hour review really going to tell me about the game as a consumer? And I believe that when we backpack and jump, people don't want to hurt their channel and go, you know what, this game was really good when the game was really shit. Like, how many people did you know really stated that Sea of Thieves was really good? There were very few. And if they did, a lot of people shit on them for some reason. And that is the reason why I say I can't believe IGN or Metacritic, because a lot of them are just being biased. They're all corporate shills working to please and push these developers and these publishers out there to sell these main marketing games. I mean, how many JRPG games have they really developed if you go into depth, and how many people are really looking for that? The mainstream games are the only ones that you really hear about, and the only games that matter to most people when they buy consoles. But if you look into the real depth of a true gamer and real games, they will show you other games out there that aren't even getting marketed or pushed out there, like main games, like Ys 8 and Dragon Quest XI, just to name a few. There are a lot more other JRPG games and RPG games and bigger games out there, but that's why, guys, I do not appreciate really going to their channel and looking at it. I could care less what they give the review on, because literally, I gave an honest review on Sea of Thieves and got a lot of flack for it, and they're like, you only played 3-4 hours, and I played a total of 7 to 10, I think is what I said, and I told them, dude, the game you can beat in 45 to an hour and a half. There were 3 missions to do, and you're wandering around on a boat. Yes, oh, the water's pretty. Congratulations. And like I said in other videos, does it really matter if it... Well, every game, man, I would rather take beauty over performance. So you'd rather have a beautiful game, look really pretty, and have 3 missions and beat it in 45 minutes and pay $60 for it. I would rather have it run really well, have a really in-depth game, and it maybe not have to look that pretty. And that is where I'm different than a lot of people, and that is why I state the things I do. But I want to know deep down inside what you guys think, honestly, about who you guys go to watch for reviews. Where do you guys go to check scores? Or do you guys just do it on your own? Or do you guys buy it and say, you know what, I enjoy games, I like to just take a chance, live on the edge? And let me know if there's any certain YouTubers out there that you guys think that are really good at doing Metacritic scores, or excuse me, reviews and stuff that you guys really trust and personally know, or have met or talked to. And it's got to be under 10,000 subs. I don't want any of these big ass channels that are just doing it because they always ask if stuff is good and it's a beta, or they ask is it still worth it and the game hasn't even been out yet, or it's a remake that we've already played 20 years ago. So I want to know personally what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. If you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys ring the bell. Obviously, share, smash that like, guys. And above all else, take care of one another. Do a good deed. Stay safe. I love you. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys back again on Wednesday. And I hope you guys have a wonderful time playing video games. Enjoy everything, guys. I love you. Peace.